hotel with price of Reason and Dreadroberts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our show that we do twice a week, The Night Owl, where we talk about entertainment, TV and movie reviews, and gaming news. I'm Price of Reason, and with me I have my co-host, Dreadroberts. How's it going, Dread?
Yo, what up? Dude, that was a really good intro. I'm happy to be here.
Have you recovered from our new theme song?
I've recovered. No, that was not bad at all. I thought it was like the Price of Reason and Dreadroberts. It was great.
I used whatever tools I had to my advantage to put together the quickest thing. And you know what? As a placeholder, as a kind of temporary placeholder, because, you know, I think that you're going to probably have a better one at some point for us because you do stuff with animation. But relatively speaking, I think this was better than you thought it would be.
No, that was better. No, definitely better than I expected. So that was great.
So yeah, and we already have some cool people here. Rida Ibn Muhammad, the Wolf from Heart, Brutal Honesty, Joshua Calkins, Kivo. So yeah, and I think that can't say for sure, but there were some. We may see an influx of some people from different places. So
that's great. I'm glad to see everybody here tonight. Same people. Rita, Wolf from Heart, and Brutal Honesty. I don't see often. I don't know if I've seen Brutal Honesty before. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've seen Brutal Honesty before.
We also have Farhad 825 on the Rumble side with 1T72 in Kivo as well, of course. So really great to see you guys again. Awesome.
And yeah, so and then we got some more people. Bishop Judas,
gotcha.
yeah. So some good people joining us, and I suspect that some more are probably on the way. But well, have you got a chance to watch the Acolyte?
Oh, I just finished it right before, probably like an hour before we started.
The Acolyte, episode 4.
Yes,
episode 4. Episode 4 is really, I mean,
really
people.
Boring.
Yeah, that's the thing is that you know, I know people were really kind of outraged over the previous one, episode 3. The truth is, though, and I've just been very busy recently for these kind of long form videos, but the truth is, I actually didn't feel much of anything during episode 3, and I didn't feel much of anything in episode 4 because it's so distant from what Star Wars is that it somehow just feels like it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. Before we get started, also, Nick Weiser raid. We're up to 40-something people.
Oh,
They're all
wow.
saying hello.
Nick Weiser has Toxic Tuesday. Today he watched Kickboxer. Personally, which is a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Personally, I've always liked Bloodsport more, but Kickboxer is also a very toxic movie, very on brand for the type of movies that Nick watches. And Nick's a really cool guy. If you guys watch this channel, you may recognize, or if you watch Midnight's Edge After Dark, he's on the panel with me almost every day, every time we do it. And he has a great channel. I guess what I'm saying is, highly recommend Nick's channel if you're watching this and you don't know him. But for those who came from Nick's channel, welcome, and it's great to see you here, as always.
Yes.
So
we've got more Crapolite, yes.
Yeah, so whether you watch the Acolyte or not, we're going to go over it with you together so we can somehow, see if it's any good.
Which it's not. It's boring.
And that's the thing is that I was telling you when we started watching this that usually their first few episodes are quote unquote their best. that's the best they have to offer. The graphics are a bit like the CGI are a bit better. You have some spaceship, you
Yeah.
have this, you have that. Once you start going into like episode 4, this is where they quote unquote like it's filler. They're like they're cutting the costs. The CGI is less. Everything is less. This episode felt extremely cheap, considering that this show
Yes.
I think is like 185 millions for 8 episodes or whatever it is. It's ridiculous.
That's crazy high.
Crazy high. I think that's what the number was. Even if it was half that, it doesn't matter. But I don't think it's many millions for each episode of this show, and there's nothing that justifies it. There isn't
Yeah.
an actor on this show except for maybe the Squidward Games guy who's doesn't know what he's doing here. He is genuinely a good actor, but aside from him, and at least in his country, he's well known. I mean, I think he's considered a legitimate actor. Yes, we only know him from Squid Games, but the guy is like a guy with a real track record in his own country. None of the other people we see here have a track record anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only guy that you can say he has been in things that have done well, that have, whether international or his own country, he is like a star in his own right. All the other people on the show are, I don't want to say nobodies because that's not a nice thing to say, but I've never seen, well, Carrie Ann Moss, but she disappeared after a minute.
Well, I guess you have the girl from Logan and whatever her name, Naomi something, I forget, but the girl from His Dark Materials, but it's not like you can really recognize her since she's in full makeup with
right.
weird
I know.
mullet wig and the
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know even that it's the same one, so not really impressed with that. But
yeah, it's just not a very good cast. But one thing I really just don't like about the show is how they just keep using the same sets over and over. Like they do move from location to location, but it's like when they have scenes with the Jedi, it's like the Jedi in the same training room with the younglings, or they're all in that meeting room, and then that's it. And
it's all what George Lucas did, meaning all they're doing is sitting around watching like the prequels and trying to paste whatever they've seen. But this is supposed to be a long time before the prequels. Who said that they always have to be on the same 2 planets? This is a whole galaxy, and somehow they made a boring show. And not only all the shows are always on like the same 2 planets because they can only think of what George Lucas did, so they go back, see what he did, and try to emulate it.
Yeah, they're all taking. I actually think it's funny that the Jedi they keep struggling with whether to take this situation with May and Osha, the twins, of all these Jedi being killed off. They don't know whether to take it seriously or not. It's like they go off on mission, find out a tidbit of information, and then they go back to get chewed out by the Green Lady. Well, mostly Soul just gets chewed out by the Green Lady, and then after he gets chewed out by the Green Lady, they go on another mission, and it's usually unsanctioned because like Soul's never asking permission; he's just going.
When I move the screen now, did you actually see the thing? Did it move?
I did see it move. Yes.
I hope people.
Yeah, that's working.
It's working. Whoever's watching it can see this also.
Sizzling. Sizzling.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. It says sizzling right there. Was he cooking? I forget what he was cooking in that scene. By the way, this Wookiee, dude, do not expect to see anything cool with this Wookiee. Nothing happens with this Wookiee. Not even in the last episode.
It's the dumbest thing. It's the dumbest buildup. They made it seem like this is so important with this Wookiee. And the truth is, I never even liked the idea the Wookiee is a Jedi, but they're not even going to show you,
Yeah.
Why even build this whole thing up? Like the Wookiee Jedi, which was a dumb idea. Well, whatever. We'll get through this. Anyhow,
right.
The Wookiee Jedi is here. He's sizzling or whatever it is. And then this is like, you have some kind of teacher. I was surprised that this guy was a Caucasian guy.
Isn't that Tormund from Game of Thrones with like a much lighter beard? That's got to be the Tormund actor. Please tell me I'm right about that because it looks. I could have sworn
it kind of looked like him, but I don't know if he is. I don't know. I think he looked more badass. The guy on Game of Thrones.
It's Headland. Oh no.
This guy looks a little more like soy, the soy version of him.
Yeah.
You know
he's
what
like,
I mean?
maximize your defense. Dude, it was so funny what he says. He says, yeah, that's what he says. Maximize your defense without need to strike. Whatever that
Yeah,
means.
like this is another thing. The dialogue in this episode is so poor. I mean, this is like
Yeah.
it's like CW level, but they're trying to make it seem like it isn't. So there's always like a
Yeah.
lot of philosophy. Like people say very philosophical things to each other, but they're sort of empty, have no context, are poorly acted. So
Yeah.
you never really, get excited over this. It just kind of looks cringe and dumb,
And you
including
don't
this
really get
scene.
any time to like reflect on what they say either because of the fact that they're all talking so much. There's so much talking and not a lot of action. And like everything that they're saying, it's like it lands flat.
It
It's
lands flat because this is CW level writing. They
yeah.
have a much bigger budget than CW, but this is CW level writing. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. There's nothing that's happened in these few episodes that has risen above the CW level.
Yeah.
I say that honestly. Like if you told me that this writers' room was like the same ones that wrote like the 8th season of The Flash, I would believe you.
Yes. I would just
Or
man, I
Batwoman.
just don't think I've ever gotten over that girl's look of with the alien the alien the Zabrak horns and the hair. It's just I don't get it, man.
It doesn't look good. It looks cheap like this whole show. I don't know why. I just don't buy it. It doesn't
Yeah.
listen, it doesn't help that none of these people are especially good actors. When everything is not functioning, sometimes, you know, there's eras of Doctor Who that I'll watch with like the Fourth Doctor that if you look at it, production wise, it's the biggest joke ever in terms of
Yeah.
how much they didn't have technology or tools or resources. But when you see such competent actors come out and like perform the material, you're mesmerized by it because it's almost like you're watching a play with like really good actors. So you understand that it's not going to be the best visual effects, but the anchor there is the sort of writing and the acting, and that
Yeah.
really holds it together. Here, you don't have the writing and you don't have the acting. Sure, you have the $20 million an episode or whatever it is, and even then, I don't even know what they spent it on because this looks pretty crappy this episode. But at
Yeah.
least, yeah, even that they don't get right. But I'm just
Well, I mean,
saying,
they're
like,
reusing sets too. It's not
true,
like they're building new sets for every like this scene right here has been reused. This set.
yeah,
It's the
yeah.
youngling training room. We've been in this room like 3 or 4 times this season.
And sadly, who knows if they're even in a room and if it's not that volume thing that they're standing in front of the background. So they just, they're
Yeah.
it's probably not even really a room. They just did it through the real engine or whatever it is.
Yep. And and by the way, the first half of the episode, well, gosh, I guess like most of it, it's just them discussing going to a planet to look for Kelnaka. I guess because they're like, well, they could be going after Kelnaka next or whatever. I can't remember. Oh, right, because Soul decides like, well, even though all of the women Jedi keep chewing me out, I'm gonna drag Osha along on an unofficial mission again.
Right.
So we're gonna go
First of
look
all, this is
for
so dumb. Like, and also the way this scene is written, I remember now. She's like, "Oh, May is here. May is there. I'm gonna go." And then she's like, "Oh, you feel conflicted because of you and May and your relationship." And then she's like, "That's right. I do feel conflicted about my relationship with her." And it's like, couldn't they have condensed this or done something that like they show not tell? It's such
no.
clunky dialogue in this scene that they're like exchanging her inner thoughts with each other, but surely there's a way that's not as like straightforward. You do get what I'm trying to say? Like
Yeah.
they don't the writing here, they don't even make an effort, any kind of minimal effort to just have the audience discover something. You know what I'm saying? Like also maybe maybe she instead of all of this nonsense, she quietly leaves and goes on her own kind of journey to try to find her, and she has her own agenda. Do something. But the way
Mm,
this plays out is just so boring and boring and predictable. Now,
yeah.
I also actually, well, we'll see more of this throughout the episode, but I actually felt we were talking about it that one of the twins is kind of like Reva from the Kenobi series.
Yeah.
That's the May one. That's kind of like a Reva character. She was wild and bad and did bad things, but there's a redemption arc, and she actually wants to be good or something like that. And the other one is sort of an Ahsoka kind of storyline, where she left the Jedi Order because she was too awesome for them, and then she went and she did like odd jobs and stuff. I think with Ahsoka and those kind of Clone Wars and whatever, I think they went for similar storylines. So they basically just they rehashed their greatest hits, but it's not even their greatest hits. One of them was like a great flop, and the other one was like a mild hit. It's not that people watch and think how great it is that Ahsoka left the Jedi Order. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You're gonna really win people over by rehashing that storyline.
No, probably not. Empress asks if there's sexual tension in that scene. So yes, I looked through.
Yes,
I
I
was
kind of
watching
felt that they
through it.
were going for it.
Like right now, it seems like they're friends, and she touched her arm in a friendly way. But you never know with these people.
I
I
mean,
wouldn't be surprised.
Leslye Headland herself said that this would be the most
The gayest Star Wars, yeah.
She said it was the gayest Star Wars, and I think she meant it. At
Oh,
this
she did,
point,
because we got lesbian moms already. So I mean,
at this point, like an anomaly within anything Disney, and especially Star Wars, and especially this show with Leslye Headland at its helm, I think that if you just see like a regular, like, straight man and woman, and they like each other and they're in a relationship, that would be a shock. You know what I mean? Unless they end up being the biggest villains, they just killed like a ton of people, innocent people in the galaxy, and then it turns out they're like in love. I don't think I don't think we're gonna be seeing much of that,
probably not.
So
Yeah, this part is, it's all them. Like this whole episode is them looking in the woods. They're all walking around the woods having miniature conversations about, or just a bunch of exposition dumps, and it's like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Oh, well, maybe we should. Okay, well, we'll just discuss it later. And then like they just bring that up again later on.
awful writing, awful. This is out of all the screenplays for this show until now, I think this episode has to be the worst. It feels such amateur level, just like you said. It's just exposition, filler, people describing what we're seeing and then describing it again and stating the obvious and telling each other exactly what they're feeling, but in a way that doesn't leave anything for the imagination. It's all kind of in the open. There's no nuance here.
No.
So here, I actually now I'm starting to realize, you said that she had longer hair. I didn't realize her hair was this long. Was it always this long?
Yeah, from the very beginning, like I said, it seemed like she had extensions, and that's what I'm seeing here. I guess this is the way that they
I
tell them
always
apart.
thought that they had the same hair length, but you're like, one is longer, and I'm like, no, it isn't. But now, maybe in the light, you know why? Because they kept filming them in the dark. So in the dark, I couldn't see that this one extended. Most of the time, when you looked at the dark scenery, they kind of looked the same. But now in the light, I can see what you mean, that she seemingly has longer dreads or whatever.
Adam Gray said $27,500 per second. $512 per frame. Really?
I believe it. Yeah, I mean,
wow.
I don't know if this it's a lot. It's a lot though. It is a lot though. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's a lot of money that went into this show. And this scene also, this is a real problem, that this Amanda Stenberg, or whatever her name is, she's not a very good actress, in my opinion. Sorry, I know some people may like her. I don't think she has the range to do the good sister and the bad sister. And the thing is, with the writing, they don't even know how to explain where one is good as one is bad. So really,
exactly,
they just seem to be acting the same, meaning they look the same and they act the same, and it's the same actress. It really doesn't work. I
agree. That's what I noticed too. It's like they don't know how to write evil May dialogue. It's like it's just May and Osha dialogue. It's just the same person, but like you're supposed to believe that the other is evil. She can't even perform. It's like the more you see her try to act as May, like the less convinced you are. And the more you realize that it's the same person trying to play two roles rather than feeling immersed in the fact that she's two different people. It's just she's one of those people who can't pull off two different people at the same time.
She can't do it. I mean, unfortunately, we were talking about David Hasselhoff, and I'll tell you that he did it much better. Hasselhoff, say whatever you want, but I believe that he was good and bad, whereas I don't believe this girl. And
now, there are some Easter eggs here, believe it or not. We do have Ki-Adi-Mundi from episode 1, the big cone head with the beard. That's actually the same dude. I think it's the same dude. I actually looked at the credits. It really is the character Ki-Adi-Mundi. So that dude, that in episode, he's in episode 1 and 2, and in 3 he gets pwned by clone troopers on a bridge. They just mow him down.
Order 66.
Yeah, Order 66. He just gets lawn mowed by clone troopers. Now he's here again, and he's younger. This is like what 100 years. It makes me wonder how old.
It's kind of weird, yeah. I mean, some species maybe they can get older, but I don't know. I didn't need him. Honestly, this does nothing for me. You seem familiar when I saw him, but it really
it's a pointless Easter egg.
It's a pointless Easter egg that at this point nobody cares about. It's just
like if he wasn't in the credits, I wouldn't have thought. I would have been like, oh, that kind of looks like Ki-Adi-Mundi, but I know
right.
It's not.
I think that's probably what I thought. I didn't think it was the same one, but he did look familiar, like somebody from the prequels. But
dude, that's so true. Jim Dowell says, because I remember Ki-Adi-Mundi said that in the prequels. He said, "Impossible. The Sith have been extinct for a millennium." They're like discussing. They're discussing this possible Sith. It's probably going to be revealed that it was a Sith, that this person's a Sith killing all the Jedi. So Ki-Adi-Mundi is going to come across this info, and then he's going to have long-term memory loss later when they're talking in the council. He's going to be like, "No, the Sith? No, in fact, we haven't seen them for a millennium." No.
Right. So that doesn't actually make sense. But what does make sense?
That's so true. I totally forgot he said that. They just keep contradicting everything. Everything. It's only episode 4, man.
It is, and you're dealing with people that just don't know the source material. They don't care. If you saw those interviews, Leslye Headland, she hired people that didn't like Star Wars and never watched it and things like that. This is not a good setup for a show. And one time in history they did with Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan. They took a guy who wasn't necessarily a diehard Star Trek fan, but what he did is that he did bring something fresh and interesting to the table, but he did respect the franchise that he was given. He must have done some homework, because I think Wrath of Khan ended up being, a fantastic movie. But that is one instance where something like that worked. This idea of like, I'll hire a bunch of ladies that are activists and don't like Star Wars, that's never going to end well.
No, certainly not.
This is the result of it, and it's not even agenda and all that stuff. Yes, it has all the agenda. It's all the dumb things that we laugh about, but it's not even that. Interestingly, you see this actor from Squid Games. Some people would claim that Squid Games was a movie that was anti-capitalism, anti-West, and pro-communism. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I'll tell you one thing. I enjoyed it. I didn't feel like being a communist afterwards. I wasn't, against the West or anything like that. But I was able to enjoy that series because I thought that it was, I liked the storytelling. So
I also watched that all the way through. I loved it, dude. I think episode 6 of Squid Game will haunt me forever. And that show was actually good, though. That's the difference, is that
but that's what I'm saying, is that the fact that there's somebody doing some kind of agenda, it doesn't mean that you can't watch it, especially if there's sort of a really great storytelling. I mean, this is a weird example, maybe not a good one, but there's like the classic movie, Battleship Potemkin or something like that, like an early silent movie that sort of helped shape cinema. So if you watch it, obviously it's propaganda of like communism and whatever, but I can still appreciate the work that was done on the movie, even though obviously I'm not going to go become a communist. So
Yeah.
it's the same. But this isn't the situation, and I think this is the problem, kind of the quote unquote or whatever you want to call it, the woke era in Hollywood, is that they don't produce stuff that is actually good with good storytelling, and it happens to also have some kind of agenda. And then you can watch it and decide if you like the agenda or not, or how you feel about it. But they don't capture your imagination with any great story, and this show is a classic example for that.
Yes. They really do waste Lee Jung Jae in this, though. Like, this is probably, I think, save for episode 3, this is they've consistently put him back in the Jedi Council to whatever the Jedi are, to get chewed out by this lady every single time he goes back.
Every time this green lady sees him, she puts him in his place. Every 5 seconds
time.
for no reason. Like, no matter what he says, like every scene I already see this, like I already see Leslye Headland's green wife, and I know that she's gonna like you said, chew him out. I know that it's only a matter of like 20 seconds into her talking, she's already mopping the floor with him.
Yeah, it never fails. He's like, "Happy birthday." She's like, well, "Why didn't you tell me that this morning?" It's like, oh, I'm sorry.
You knew that there were little girls there, and you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
He's like, well, they did die.
You're right, Master. This is none of your fault. This is not your fault at all. It's all me, the man.
Right. I did it. Even like a diverse man can't catch a break anymore. Not when he's talking to Leslye Headland's green wife. Even a diverse man can't catch a break.
Nope. Wait, why does Yord need to go AWOL? Yord is AWOL. His performance is AWOL.
He's like complete CW. He's like he could have been like the co-star of Batwoman. Actually, all these actors, Amanda Stellberg and Yord, could have been like the stars of Batwoman. But that's the truth.
Yeah, no, for real. He's CW standard issue.
Right. And
like
with
typecast.
With all of this money, they couldn't get a few actors that don't suck, like except for the Squid Games guy. They couldn't get anybody.
No, it really sucks though. It's like his inspiration's Qui-Gon, but they're really not giving him anything to work with. He cannot emote distinctly, and like he can't get into his role and actually perform. He's just like, all of his energy is in reciting the line the right way. It's not much that he's actually giving. He's like, "Excuse me, Master." He's like, "Shut up. I'm so sick of you talking. You stand here. You let me talk. I'm going to tell you about how awful you are." And he's like, "Master, I understand." No, you don't. You don't understand. I'm so like, it's
that was actually that was a good imitation of him, man.
It's so over the top. So I'm just.
It is, and it's every time. He hasn't said one thing that anybody has liked here from day one.
No. He does go unsanctioned here. He goes behind the Master's back. So he's solidified that he will be chewed out next time he returns. So we're gonna see more of that.
So at this point, she's walking with a guy from the store that she ran away with. And this is also, I mean, if they already, I'm going to tell you something, and it's a deep thought, and I don't know if I can explain myself. I feel like if this was a good show, you would have this May girl evil, really evil and badass throughout the whole series. And towards the end, kind of like maybe like a Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi moment, she has some kind of change of heart at the end. And maybe even upon her death, she redeems herself. It's a trope they've already used, but at least you can say that she was evil. Here, because of her, this is my opinion, of course, because of her diversity, I feel like Disney doesn't want there to be too much time that you think she's evil. So very quickly, they're trying to redeem her, if that makes any sense.
Yes. I was going to talk to you about that, actually, because that's
so quickly they want to make...
What is it? Like, she was evil for maybe 2 episodes, and then we got the flashback.
Barely 2 episodes, and now it's like, you discover that she had to do it, or else some guy would kill her. She had to like fulfill the orders, like she was under duress. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, she's like, well, my big motivation was because I thought my sister was dead, but now that she's alive, I can just put all this behind me.
Right. She's like,
What?
now that my sister's alive, it doesn't matter that I killed all those people. Like, now I can do
Yeah,
whatever
I'm
I
good
want.
now. The Jedi, I'll turn myself into the Jedi. Me and Osha will be good, and then we'll move off to Georgia or something.
Also,
People are
like 5
nuts.
minutes earlier, she said, I can't believe my sister's Jedi scum. And then she's like, you know what? I should turn myself into my sister. Like, let me tell the Jedi that I did it. So then here,
Yeah.
like, I think Soul stops her and he's like, you must come with me. And then she's like, no, you only want me so like you can find her. And he's like, oh, what is it? What explanation? What BS explanation does he give her here?
Oh, he said something like, "No, you must not." Or no, he's like, "I need your help. You must come with me." Like, as an official Jedi, no, don't get ahead of yourself. You are not Jedi.
Right.
She's like, "I
Right.
want to be a Jedi." He's like, "No, but you still
Then
have to come with me."
then she's like, oh, I mean, again, all this flip flopping. She supposedly left because she didn't want to be a Jedi. Now she's sad that she can't be a Jedi. It's like,
Yeah.
lady, do you
Yeah.
want to be a Jedi or not? I don't get it. And plus, they didn't want you to go. You decided to go. I don't know. And then
I
he
don't
has all
think
this
any of
kind
these
of
people want to be Jedi.
and also he has these kind of philosophical answers like, you just want me to help you find her. You also have to find yourself. You know what I mean? Like he keeps saying like all these kind of fortune cookie philosophy like between the things, and she's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, also, what is she getting so mad about? You just want to help. You just want me to help you find her. It's like, don't you two want to find each other? I thought
Also,
what's going on?
also, if she comes, maybe they can like take her peacefully. You know what I mean? Instead of like killing her, which is the other alternative. And then
Yeah.
she's like, but I'm not wearing that robe or something like that. So she's wearing like these funny outfit.
Yep.
And then
You got the alien again, the ship.
so they're on this planet, and then Yord. This is another stupid thing. He's like, "Excuse me, you're gonna have to give me that blaster," and he's all like attitude with her, and then like she has attitude with him. 5 seconds later, they're just like walking and talking as though they're like besties,
Yeah.
and he's like, "No, like you always like." He starts giving his philosophical thing too.
Yeah, and then was it
Soul
in this
seemed to
part or
think that you would
later?
contribute. You've always been strong, whatever. It's like 5 seconds ago, you were trying to take her blaster and you were like at odds, and there was nothing really to resolve that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like the
He
2 seconds
yeah.
ago, you didn't want her there, and now he's like, well, you always were you're the wise one. Soul is wise. He knows that he wants you here. It's like, dude, five
Yeah.
seconds ago, you were trying to get rid of her.
Yeah, so he's a big douche. So he's been a douche to her the whole time, and now she turns around and she's like, "Hey, listen. I know that you've been a jerk to me the whole time, but you know my sister? Well, I don't have the heart to kill her, so I'm going to need you, a person that clearly is at odds with me, to kill my sister for me because I won't be able to do it." And he's like, "Okay." I'm like, "Wow." Yeah, these
Very
guys
weird.
flip-flop
Very weird.
constantly.
So much flip flopping because they don't have clear character arcs, and the people that are writing this are just very big amateurs. That's the truth. There's no other way to look at it. They are amateurs.
They are.
And man, does this feel cheap. Man, does this episode feel like nothing is happening. They're just walking around in the same, I don't know if it's the volume or where they filmed it, but it feels cheap, very cheap.
Well, nothing spells Star Wars like a slanted hill in New Zealand. So, whatever.
Nothing spelled. I don't.
Nothing spells Star Wars quite like a slanted hill in New Zealand.
Yeah,
That's what
I
they
mean,
think it looks alien. It's just like we're on a slanted. It all looks the same.
but where was it actually filmed? I think it was filmed in the volume. I think this is all just
Oh,
like
probably.
crap.
I was just being facetious and guessing.
Maybe they tried to emulate a hill in New Zealand, but that's the sad part, that they probably didn't even go there. That's just all in front of a green screen.
Yeah.
And then you
So
have this.
they're all looking around in the woods. Oh, right. They enlist the help of that small gopher-like mouse creature.
Yeah, that's their big like contribution to the Star Wars lore. They have like a little gopher that sniffs around.
Yeah. And
And
these
this is the
bugs on
part.
a tree.
And somehow this also they managed to make boring. I mean, I know that they probably watch stuff like Star Wars, like The Empire Strikes Back, when there's suddenly a creature that looks like one thing, but then it's, you know, that Han and Leia get swallowed by that creature. They wanted something similar, that it's sort of a strange creature in the forest, but somehow it's executed really poorly. And the worst part is that when Sol arrives to battle it, his let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, you're right. Osha cannot help but touch that bulge. Yep, she did. She just put
She
her hand
did.
right. She didn't even think about it. She's just like,
So I keep telling you that the way they make the lightsabers look here is so cheap, and I don't know why. This thing is like a wide shot, like it's it's not a close up, but like when you see him ignite it, it just looks really bad.
Yeah, it's like a very very light blue hue, and it's like a mostly thick white blade. It's
It,
like
it I keep saying it. It seems like, I know that we laughed and maybe it's like from their park or whatever it is, but it actually looks like somebody went to Home Depot, but bought like a fluorescent light and painted it light blue.
that's
That's what it
exactly what it
looks
looks
like.
like a
And
baseball bat.
in the worst possible way. There's just I don't know. It's weird because the technology should be better now. How come they can't make this thing look good?
I saw the little toy sabers they use behind the scenes. And they look super thick there too. It looks bad.
It certainly does. Anyhow, he kills the creature.
He kills the flying roly poly.
And then,
but I disturbed it, and now it's dead. She's like regretful.
She's regretful that now the bug is dead. Ugh.
So Sol's a bad guy for killing it. It was all her fault. If she had just restrained herself, then maybe Sol would not have acted so masculinely and killed it. How dared Sol do that? So yeah, that's the other moment where they're all touching each other, and she's like, "Yeah, you survived a lot. You're awesome." She's like, "No, you're awesome." Maybe there's
Also
some tension there, but I didn't feel it.
weird stuff of like, again, such clunky dialogue of just dumping like information. There's no, you need to create some kind of like fun, you know, as much as George Lucas maybe wasn't the best at clunky dialogue and stuff, and he needed help with that, he understood that there needs to be an adventure, like a sense of adventure and fun. And somehow, like, you know, people like Leslye Headland, they simply don't understand that.
Yeah. So Angry Canadian, I'm looking it up right now because Angry Canadian said that Star Wars Theory posted something on Twitter saying something funny about. Oh, here it is. So I'm gonna quote what Star Wars Theory said about Ki-Adi-Mundi, but he said, it's quote, Ki-Adi-Mundi said the Sith haven't appeared in over a millennium during TPM. How do we retract this? And they're like, let's just write him into the show. But Ki-Adi isn't born for another 40 years. No one will notice. And if they do, this is my canon now. Just do it. And he said, we noticed.
It's true. It's true.
It's true. Even I noticed. And even I noticed, man. I'm not even that big of a Star Wars fan as Star Wars Theory is. I am a fan, but come on, man.
No, I am a fan too. I mean, I guess he, like, you know, he really spends his time like over every single like sentence and word, but it's cool. I mean, he likes it and he's good at it, so
yeah,
don't have an issue with that. This is another thing that she's like, how can I kill a defenseless Jedi now with a weapon? Yeah, it's not a test, it's impossible. And then, like, so quickly does she just shift without anything happening in the story. It's like I said, if she was evil, and at the end something happened and there was like a moment of reckoning and she suddenly felt something towards her sister, or maybe like not wanting to kill her sister keeps her from going all out like the most evil person in the world. But here she's already so quickly, like, she doesn't want to kill the Wookiee Jedi. She already wants to give herself up.
Yep. Also, that guy, his name is Kimir. He is a lot of people think that he's going to be the Sith. I feel like they're trying to do misdirection. I still think it's going to be Carrie Ann Moss's character. Yeah, I still think it's going to be her, but Like it's like they're trying to play him off as Jar Jar Binks if he were to actually be a secret Sith, like they were originally planning. But it's like they're trying to do misdirection. It's like, oh, he's so stupid. He may actually be the bad guy, but he probably isn't. I
He
think it's
probably
just a little
isn't.
too obvious. Or maybe they're just that stupid and they really think that we're that stupid and that we won't figure it out, that it's actually him. That would be crazy, that he's the master.
Yeah.
It's
We'll
funny
have to.
because sorry man.
No, go on, go on.
It's funny because earlier on in the episode, Soul is totally like, well, it's funny that May shows up after all these years, trained by one of our own. They're like, oh, you think a Jedi could have trained her? And I'm just thinking to myself, probably because it just seems too unreal that they would have Carrie Ann Moss in here without doing something special with her. You think they're gonna make Khmer the ultimate Sith character that beats all of these dudes in the next episode? He doesn't do it here, but you think that that's gonna be the guy that do it? Like, he's so annoying. He's got like a little tiny mustache. He's all greasy. His hair is all weird. His voice is just nonsense. He sounds like a total math nerd. I mean, like in the worst possible way. I don't mean like some of us here. I mean, like, this guy's just like, come on, you can do it. You can totally kill the Jedi. It's so easy.
Right.
Just
No,
like,
no,
no,
I don't buy him.
Yeah.
I think also, here's the thing, is that if they brought Carrie Ann Moss and they don't want to pay her for every episode, they seemingly kill her off in the first one, and then she'll arrive in a much later episode. Like for today, you didn't need Carrie Ann Moss to be under that mask. So if
Yeah.
it's her, she can pop up later. She's one of the only known actresses here, and you see her much later. And it's as if she was always here, but she wasn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's either her or it's the mom. I mean, a lot of people have just settled and said, well, it's the Asian guy, because of the fact that it's like they're all on that planet. There's no way that the master could have made it there in time or whatever. But yeah. But yeah, I think, but it's definitely terrible that she flip flops, because it's just like you can't tell them apart at that moment. It's like she's either May or she's
Right.
Osha, and it wouldn't
They're
matter.
acting exactly the same. You can't tell the difference between them. And
So she's like, I'm going to turn myself in, and then she goes to look for the Wookiee. Remember? Oh, right, we have to see what happens to the Wookiee. So now you all were really excited about seeing this Wookiee. Oh, first she disturbs like a patch of vegetables or whatever, and then this gopher freak is like, "Rah!" Like it's Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and then she
Right,
runs off
exactly.
into the building.
Right, and then I think that she goes and she wants to surrender to the Wookiee whatever, but then it turns out that the Wookiee is dead. And
Yeah,
that's so
yes.
stupid. They built up this whole thing like there was and the end of an episode was that there was a Wookiee on this planet that he's a Jedi. That was the big ending. And then she just arrives. She never even fights him or anything.
Yeah, because she incapacitates the Asian dude. She's like, "Look, you just hang tight here. I'm going to go turn myself into the Jedi." And then she goes to talk to the Wookiee. He's dead. So the claim is that he helped cut himself down, put his helmet on, because he's carrying around this knapsack too, and it looks very helmet shaped, very weird. But I feel like they're just trying to pull a fast one on viewers. I'm not even like talking about it in a way where I'm interested. I just think it's going to be Carrie Ann Moss. But you know what?
I tend to
Whatever.
agree. I don't think that twerp. It'll be a strange twist if that guy like is the guy. I mean, it seems too obvious that they would choose that angle. Carrie Ann Moss seems like the way to go. I agree with you.
Yeah. What do you think of that helmet and the look of this new Sith?
Crap. It looks crappy. I don't know, like it feels like they wanted to do a Kylo Ren, but it actually looks even worse than Kylo Ren.
Yeah, it looks like just like budget Kylo Ren. I mean, even they always do that thing too. Why do they keep doing that thing in the back, that back rivet? Like they're always trying to make the next Sith look like Darth Vader in some way. They did that with Kylo Ren too. They gave him that little rivet on the bottom of his helmet, or that little.
They really want to have the new Darth Vader, and it never works for them.
Yeah. Oh, Smilo Ken. Yeah, somebody else said Darth Smile.
And then this cringy scene that all the Jedis are battling. This whole thing is just so cringe. It's
Yeah,
awful.
so he's like, Osha, get back. Sprints head first at the Sith. They all light up. And so, what's really funny? I went on social media after this. I was just trying to see what other people thought of this scene. They're all like salivating over the last couple of minutes of this episode. The whole thing where this Sith shows up, ignites a lightsaber, and they all run at him, and then that Sith just force pushes all of them backward. It's all in the trailer. That entire sequence is in the trailer, and there's nothing new that you see. And everyone's just like, those last couple of minutes were mind-blowing. It's literally in the trailer. You've already seen the scene before.
Yeah, we've seen the same stupid thing.
Oh, by the way, I was right. I commented on Star Wars Theories post yesterday or the day before. And I was like, here's a sneak peek of the lightsaber scene, because everyone was making fun of whatever this new lightsaber scene was going to be. And I did a sneak peek, and it was just like the old man Herbert with the the flaccid lightsaber that he ignites. He's all like, "Aw." I didn't really know that I was actually going to be right, and that there was really going to be that scene here where they just ignite the lightsabers, and then it's just a blue ball moment. They cut it off before anything can happen.
That's funny. Let's see, like, who she wrote. She's known for writing Watchmen, but she didn't write like the movie Watchmen.
Claire, who? Which one? Claire Kitchell?
Yeah, I am ashamed to say that it looks like she's a member of the writing staff for House of the Dragon, because that show is actually good.
That show is actually good. Well, wait, what was it she wrote before?
Let's see.
Well, you just said it, but for some reason I just forgot it.
She wrote Watchmen, which was a terrible show, very like political and crappy.
Yeah, that was a really political show.
Right, and then the Acolyte and the OA. The OA was kind of dumb. It had potential, the OA, but ultimately was like a dumb, stupid show.
Yeah, just like this one.
It said that she was on the writing team for House of the Dragon. That actually surprises me, because she really isn't a, what do I know?
Well, I think the creators also matter. Seems like Ryan Condal's actually trying to take the show in a direction, unlike Leslye Headland, who is fully hell-bent.
Well, she was only in season 1. I guess they didn't bring her back from season 2, but still, season 1 was good, so I have nothing to say. I mean, I don't think that it was her that they were relying on, but she must have been at least okay enough to not ruin it.
Right. Just good enough.
Right, but in this show, she didn't do anything good. Who's Cora Donna? Let's see the other one.
Cora Donna actually sounds like a name in Star Wars.
The Acolyte, Dune Prophecy, and Mr. Robot. Don't know what to tell you. Mr. Robot, I thought started off in an interesting way, but after about a season, I lost interest.
Dune Prophecy, isn't that a game? Is that?
I guess
I don't know. So
yeah,
I mean what is a highlight for you? Like, is there anything where you're just like, oh, that actually seemed like something cinematic?
No, this episode was awful. That's why I these guys at least have been somewhere, working somewhere, doing something, and you certainly wouldn't know it by watching this episode.
Oh, when he flicked away Osha, Jim Dahl said when he flicked away. Yeah. But it makes you wonder why I don't know why it flicked. That was something that made me think, well, it's the mom, the Zabrak mom, because one, it's like, why is she doing everything she can not to kill Osha? She's like pushing her aside to go. And then the helmet thing. Some people pointed it out. I kind of agree with it, where it's like the helmet's pointed out too much in the forehead, so that maybe it's enclosing those Zabrak horns. I guess we'll find out, but
we'll have to find out. Yeah, but it's gonna be dumb, I think.
Oh yeah. 4 episodes in, episode 4, nothing happens. Episode 3 was a flashback, so nothing really happened. Got some context, but did we really? I don't know. I feel like I have more questions than
Yeah.
answers.
And really, and I think, we were talking about this show, I feel nothing when I watch it. It's not Star Wars. It's not like I'm watching something that they're ruining now. There's nothing for them to ruin anymore. They've ruined everything. This is just like after they've already ruined everything, they're doing this.
What's the media saying about it? Because I know they have to be at odds with the fans of Star Wars, like real Star Wars fans.
Well, there was something that, and this was really interesting. I don't know if you saw that Looper, that kind of vanilla YouTube channel and site that they just kind of they've built a whole empire on YouTube, just making these kind of generic vanilla videos, giving you facts about movies, and it's just the most like simple takes. They bring like nothing to the table, and they had some kind of video that they basically mentioned Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker, and said basically that because of them there's like racism and bigotry or something like that. And I was so surprised to hear that.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
and
I saw that clip. The guy was just trashing Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, saying that
nobody, and you know what's eerie about it is that like that whole operation relies on this kind of phoniness. So the way the guy talks, and how he explains it, it makes it even worse. Like as if he's just sharing some trivia with you. You know what I mean? And as some of you know, well, Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker are isophobes, and he just makes it like as if it's like a matter of fact,
Yeah, their rhetoric encourages bigotry, and like the way that he's speaking about them is just nonsense. These guys are clearly jealous. X is a lost cause. The people on X, all those quote unquote Star Wars fans, they all think this is amazing. I'm kind of shocked. I'm watching this show and I'm seeing nothing of value. Maybe I've watched too many movies and TV shows growing up, and that maybe these people just have never watched anything in their lives, and so their minds.
No, there's nothing of value here. If you genuinely like Star Wars, this is not gonna really be for you. Only if you're like an activist of sorts can you like this thing.
Many people have already given up on it. It's just,
I'm sure.
If anyone's watching it, it's for the lulz at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, also, why are we just watch it? It's like, we're just doing it. We're talking about it. It's funny, but it's not like everybody's keen on watching this.
Yeah. If Twitter X watchers love this garbage so much, then why is the viewership so low and dropping every week? Because they're all in denial. They're in denial, and that's why they attack so incessantly. If people knew that the show was good and written well and that people were actually enjoying it, they wouldn't be so defensive. They wouldn't be attacking. Like, people just say, like on X, I've seen people just say, I wasn't really a big fan of this week's episode, and that dude just gets blasted by new Star Wars fans. It's all bigotry, it's racism, it's sexism. Those are the things that's why you don't like it, because you're all of these terrible things, not because the writing may actually be terrible or the direction may just be flat and lame and nonsensical. No, it's because you hate women and colored people. That's what they say. It's ridiculous.
And by the way, if you are enjoying the stream, make sure to subscribe to this channel, and also check out Dreadroberts channels. That's DreadRoberts. So you should check out his stuff. And also, if you're watching this and you feel like it, make sure to subscribe or follow, or whatever platform you're watching us on. You should follow us there.
Heck yeah.
So this score doesn't look good. This 14% audience score, I think.
Yep, they're saying that it's all because of a review bomb. No genuine reviews in there. You guys remember we read some of these to you all. Some of the reviews.
They seem like legitimate reviews to me. I don't know.
Yeah. They were very genuine reviews trashing the show. The only ones that didn't seem genuine were the extremely short 100% praise ones. There were even some reviews that were criticizing the show, and they still gave it 5 stars.
Let's see if I can find some of those.
And even then, it still went down to 14%. I don't know.
Audience reviews. Let's see.
Yeah, I know. It really does need to be in the single digits. I've been waiting for it to hit 9.
I wanted to love this. Star Wars should not be this complicated. It does not feel like Star Wars at all. Got back to basics. Stop messing with the recipes that we love.
I know. I can tell right off the bat that that's a real one.
Star Wars trolls are such bad word. Show is all right so far. Trolls just want to bring down the ratings. I mean,
that's not a review,
right?
That's you literally just putting a 4-star review there to counter the 1-star and 2-star reviews. That is not a review. These people are so disingenuous, fake, and hypocrites. They're so hypocritical.
And I'm surprised that Hunter Biden even had time to leave this review.
Oh dang! Wait,
I'm just kidding. It said Hunter.
we found where Hunter is.
The joke was there. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
Did great job.
It's not such a great, but come on, it said Hunter. I couldn't not do it. What can I do?
What is this one? What's that one with the surprise? That one looks spicy.
Oh,
whoa, bro!
Bitchy Hawaii boy haters hate anything that isn't about bitchy Hawaii boys. Infinitely better than any of the prequels.
Bro, they're saying that we're review bombing? Look at that. The person just being straight up racist with a 5-star review.
Right.
It's insane, dude.
And the 5 stars is just that they're annoyed that there's Hawaii people that don't like it.
Oh my goodness. I honestly love the series. The director did a perfect job in this episode, especially given how short it is, but it's definitely worth the 1 week. Yeah, I'm sure you guys all felt it was worth waiting an entire week for 30 minutes. Yes, 30 minutes of filler. Half of the episode is just people walking around. And most of the conversations taking place are the exact same type of conversation being presented in the exact same way.
I love it here. I hear how people are just bombing this show, so I figured I'd write a review here, too.
It's all one big run-on sentence. Great job, everyone. Also, usually write a comment on the show. So instead of complaining about something so dumb that it literally makes no sense, then make your own TV shows then. Yes. Yes, let's make our own Star Wars. Why didn't we think of that?
Opened with a beautiful set piece in a cantina that perfectly captured the blend of samurai and Wild West that first influenced George Lucas. Oh, shut up. Seriously. Nobody talks like this. Immediately hooked after the first scene. If you like anything that Dave Filoni has created for the Star Wars universe, this seems like a must-watch. This feels like a PR company. That didn't feel like a real review.
This seems like a must-watch?
And then this one. Star Wars fans, we've been through this before. First, we express our reservations. Then we witness the magic unfold. Remember the initial skepticism towards Phantom Menace, the first Clone Wars cartoon, and The Force Awakens? This is a PR company. All were initially met with doubt, but they grew on us, becoming integral parts of the Star Wars universe we know and love today. It's new and the characters and the story will develop, but for the initial episodes, it's more than good. The production is of the highest quality. This feels like Kathleen Kennedy herself wrote this, and the thought of conception and setting hundreds of years before Phantom Menace is all very credible, like a new flavor of Star Wars ice cream. I'm open-minded, treating this as escapism into a new fantasy story. This is such nonsense. This feels like an agenda-driven comment.
Yeah, it would be a great point if it wasn't for the fact that the reason people didn't like the prequels or they criticized so heavily the prequels is not because there was an extremist ideology being shoved into it. It wasn't,
right, and not only that,
because of the quality of like the writing. Like they were criticizing things in universe, like in like a genuine way. This isn't where Star Wars is having LGBTQ plus nonsense shoved into it every 5 seconds. Like it's a different time.
Right, and the thing is that the Phantom Menace, one of the reasons today it's considered like more well liked than it was back then is because of how awful the sequel trilogy was and the stuff that Kathleen Kennedy does because of that. So they're trying to reframe history by saying the Phantom Menace, like, now it's appreciated. It's appreciated for a very specific reason. And also, why did they throw The Force Awakens in here? The Force Awakens is a crappy movie, especially when the two movies that were sort of its follow-up just kind of voided it, if that makes any sense.
I feel like people are still ripping apart The Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens was a movie that if they had two movies that followed it in the trilogy that were like awesome, I think people would have let it slide as sort of a soft reboot because they wanted to bring it to a younger audience. I think some people would have been okay with that if they really delivered afterwards. But once you have The Last Jedi, there's no way to recover from that trilogy.
Yeah. Would you say that J.J. Abrams ruined its potential with the first movie, or would you say that Rian Johnson was the one that ruined it?
It's sort of a combination of them both. The thing is that I think that Rian Johnson did things that were more irreversibly damaging. Showing Luke as a bum that abandons his friends and family was a big deal. So I don't think that J.J. Abrams did that. He just steered away from showing Luke in general.
True. Well, I know that when they first, well, I don't know if this is confirmed, but it was being talked about in mainstream for a minute. Is that when they had the scene where at the end of the J.J. Abrams film where Rey meets Luke, I guess originally it was written with J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan that they would have Luke like sitting and having rocks float around him and stuff.
Right.
So I guess that was the initial thought, but then I guess Rian Johnson came in later and he's like, no, I want him to be a loser bum. And so then J.J. Abrams changed it, and then it was just like Luke looking all upset and worried while looking at the lightsaber. But I can't confirm any of that. But I thought that what you said was interesting about them maybe trying to just do a simple soft reboot for younger audiences. Maybe that was the goal, and maybe Rian Johnson just came in and messed everything up. But I do still think, and I'm sure you think this too, but of course I still think there's a lot to criticize about The Force Awakens.
I think that like if the movies that followed The Force Awakens would have been terrific, if like Luke is just like that. Maybe they tried with the rocks what you said. They tried a different setup. I remember reading that too. If he would have come out and he's like this cool Jedi master and he's training her, I think people would have been, at least okay with it. But the second they had him like a bum and they did what is now like the prototype for all those kind of classic legacy male characters that they want to deconstruct all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that I had the foresight that when I saw that movie, I knew what it meant, that I knew that this is like the beginning of a new era, like a really bad one.
Yeah, the beginning of the death of Star Wars.
And of Hollywood in general.
I know, yeah, for real though.
That movie has a very important place in history in terms of like Hollywood going downhill. It is. It's like the firing shot or whatever you want to call it. Like that's the starting gun or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and it's just getting started for Disney too. I don't know if you saw Price, but they had James O'Keefe is going after Disney in a couple days. They're going to reveal a bunch of stuff, so we're going to get to find out even more about evil Disney behind the scenes. I'm super.
Let's see what he comes up with.
Yeah, that's going to be a big deal. No, Daisy was not unlikable. They made her Yes, they made her unlikable.
Yeah, I didn't mind her after the first movie, but by the time the third one came around, I just couldn't. And I feel bad because the actress has done nothing bad. She didn't do anything bad, but I can't. I don't like that character. It's such a poorly written character.
Yeah.
I certainly think that this has impacted her career, at least to an extent.
Oh yeah, Matthew Marcillo was trying to confirm earlier what I said. He said ending for The Force Awakens. Luke, is that from the original script? Matthew it says Luke looks shunted, scared, and regretful, but interested in Rey and DHSI lightsaber. Luke in The Last Jedi angry tosses his lightsaber over his shoulder. No, I totally just read a regular comment. But he said earlier that the ending came straight from the original George Lucas treatment, where Luke was going to be found fully immersed with the Force. So yeah, I knew I had heard that somewhere, but I couldn't confirm it. And if that's the direction that J.J. Abrams was going to go with that, man, that's kind of messed up.
I mean, he's a hack, but at least like I don't think that he purposely wanted Luke to be a bum, even as dumb and annoying as J.J. Abrams is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it looks like there's a lot of bots. You know, the review bombing actually looks like more. It's like more for Disney.
Yeah, it's also in support of. It's all supporting all the review bombing is from. Also, people like are totally blowing those out of proportion. Also, like how what was it that how many reviews are there, even for audience reviews?
I think it's over 1,000. But the latest batch, I feel like once this 4th episode aired, they had like a bunch of more positive ones that almost feels like a bot farm.
It was that's also something I find hilarious.
Look at this. Look at this. I don't understand the review bombing of this show. Blah blah blah. What's not to like? Then it's like I don't get all the hate. And then not sure why all the hate. It really seems
they're like, why all the review bombing? Said the review bombers, giving it 5 stars without even saying anything about the show itself.
And then the 5 stars. This is from Joseph, 5 stars. It's actually more complex than people give it credit for. I mean, can you explain? Fantastic Star Wars. Yeah.
What is there to complicate? They reveal everything to you at the beginning of the show. The only thing that people haven't figured out is who the bad guy is. I'm sure they're going to have a dumb explanation for that too.
This doesn't look like real people to me. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, wow. I don't even know what that one says.
I can wait for each week to come so I can get my dose of Star Wars. What more could anyone ask for?
Yes. They love Star Wars so much. It's like a drug. They have to take it like a drug every week. Yeah, I'm sure people watching The Acolyte are just so head over heels for it. I'm sure. The first 2 episodes.
This is quote unquote the review bomb. This is like a review bomber. And the reason this is interesting is this is a guy that actually even likes Disney Star Wars. So the first 2 episodes were typical Star Wars Disney nowadays. Lee Jung-jae, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Daphne Keane were definitely the highlights of the show. I really like the martial arts implemented too. Good so far. Then episode 3 dropped. Didn't you people read your own High Republic books? Who approved the Force to be rewritten on a whim to be something it's not? This idiot idea of a thread. You people are working within the confines of a well-established universe, several decades old. You can't just rewrite lore to suit your ways, especially with something as important as the Force. I look forward to more Force martial arts and an epic duel with a Sith Lord, but this witch thread crap is really stupid. So basically, even people that are sort of supportive of what they do, even they didn't like this.
Yes, they hated it. Like, it seems that every single review that we read that is negative actually has a reason in that review of why they don't like it. And most of the 5-star reviews or even the 4-star reviews are like, they don't give any explanation. They just say it's great. These haters, I'm posting this just to stick it to the haters. I'm enjoying this series. It isn't perfect. It gives it 5 stars. Do you see how
Right.
disingenuous and how disingenuous and ridiculous people are? And the media is saying that it's the other side. That's the OG Star Wars fans posting all the review bombing. Dude, these people are liars. It takes what is it? 5 seconds? Even if you just took 15, 20 minutes out of your day just to read through some of the reviews, you would have your answer. Yeah, how many outlets took the lie that it was us review bombing it. How many of those people, how many of those outlets took that and just ran with it? All
They
of them?
always do that.
All of them.
They always do that. And it's so tired already that they continue to try to protect Disney in the same way over and over again.
Yes. Yeah. I hope it's worth it. I really do, because if this is the kind of show you're going to protect, I guarantee you're going to get way more of them. And then these people who keep consuming the Star Wars after years of consuming this garbage are going to realize that they wasted so many years of their lives being fed some of the worst quality written and directed content TV has ever seen. It'll come to them. I think it'll come to them much later, though, because it's like it's the Star Wars hype. Once that dies down and people start rewatching and seeing what's really going on in the show and what's going on behind the scenes, they're all going to be like, well, we knew it was bad all along, but we just love Star Wars. And then the excuses will transform even further. Oh yeah.
I mean, like I was telling you last time, as bad as the Acolyte is, I already knew walking into it that there's nothing they can do to save whatever they've done. So at this point, it doesn't surprise me. It's just crappy like I thought it would be.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I don't know why they teased this episode as being like a lightsaber fight. Everyone was like, dude, this is going to run. I thought this was the one that was going to have a lightsaber fight that apparently rivaled the Darth Maul fight in episode 1.
Yeah, I don't know which fight that's going to be, but nothing I've seen until now qualifies for that.
Maybe it was Soul chopping that bug in half. Maybe they thought that was that was equal. I don't know. Maybe they're just dumb.
They are very dumb. This is very, Also, they suddenly had him, I guess. I was going to say something, but I lost my train of thought. But it is a very, very poorly written show. It's dumb, and I think people know it. Even the shills know it.
Yeah, there have been a couple personalities I've seen that have been really hyped about it. But then even after, I think episode 3 was the line for a lot of people. I've seen people be like, well, I think they need to reboot Star Wars after that one, because episode 3 was pretty bad in just butchering the lore of the Force and just changing it around into a thread and stuff. That really turned people away. But I don't know. There's always the chance that these last few episodes could be just amazing masterpieces. The likelihood of that is just, I don't think it's very likely. And if you have Grace Randolph herself saying that after episode 4, now she's hooked into the show, that you've got a bad show on your hands. She's probably one of the biggest Disney shills out there. But I don't think she meant to say it, but she did admit that it took 4 episodes for her to get into the show. That should tell you a lot, because these people usually defend this show to the death. And even for the worst content, they defend it. But this one was particularly disappointing for a lot of people. So anyway, Price, those are my thoughts on episode 4.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's sort of I have a level of apathy when I watched it, and there was nothing especially funny about it. They just, they did whatever they did. It was very predictable. The fact that they couldn't even follow through the story of the evil sister, that they automatically took a shortcut there, it shows how lazy the storytelling is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have any hopes for it. I don't think it's going to get any better. I think this is very crappy. It's what we think of Disney Star Wars, and they're delivering exactly what it is that they said they would deliver, I guess.
There's no Acolyte merch in the parks. Ooh.
I believe that.
I bet they're super expensive at the parks too. Those action figures, whatever merch they have, I'm sure it's just way overpriced.
I think that most people that are not at the park are not buying that. They're not buying OSHA action figures.
Yeah,
I have Luke Skywalker. I have Darth Vader. I have OSHA.
Yeah. I remember seeing that video of those like the Disney Star Wars fans like, "Oh, dude, I got an action figure of my boy Ezra." And it's like whatever they dude. It's just like those days are so long gone, man. My
Totally.
boy Ezra. It's
I
funny. My
100%
boy
agree.
is literally named Ezra, by the way, but
Well,
no relation.
it's an okay name. But yeah, I mean, and again, we were talking about Nerdrotic and the Critical Drinker. It looks like the mainstream media really wants to protect Disney again and try to frame these narratives. But like with Gamergate too, I feel like the media can't get away today with what it did back in the day. And especially with how bad Star Wars is they really don't have a lot to say.
No.
I mean, they're still trying. They're still trying with the Istant Phobes and Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker and whatever, but it doesn't get very far.
No, it really doesn't. Those dudes are actually blowing up way too fast for the media to even keep up with smearing them. And it seems like every time the media does try to smear anybody, they get destroyed eventually. I mean, it does not take long. A lot of people suggest that we're at a turning point. Maybe. I don't know. In my opinion, maybe, but they keep pushing out these shows though.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that yet.
Yeah, but
we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But there have been a few other developments in entertainment today.
Yeah, sorry, these guys are chatting really fast. I've just been kind of seeing what they're saying.
Oh yeah,
no
pay
fat
attention to the
Jedi.
chat.
Yeah, no fat Jedi action figures. I hope.
Let me see.
You guys are asking all the right questions. You know what's sad is that like whatever questions we ask about the Acolyte, we're probably all going to be wrong, and it's going to be dumber than we could have imagined. That's how I see it. You know, I could be like, "Oh, Carrie Ann Moss was faking her death the whole time." You know, it could just be the stupidest thing ever. Maybe it really is that Asian guy, Khmer, and it's just all an anticlimactic mess.
So this is something that I can tell people here that maybe are watching this video. I actually saw an advanced screening of this movie, The Bike Riders.
Bike rider? Oh, is that something you pulled up? Because I don't see anything.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good. Angry Canadian said earlier, if they make any, they will end up at Ollie's. Nice AC.
So yeah, there's this movie Bike Riders, and I got to see an early screening of it, and it has Jodie Comer, Austin Butler, and Tom Hardy, and basically it shows the early years of how like biker gangs started in America, and how sort of it went from being something more innocent to being more like crime and gang related, and I thought that there was an interesting idea behind the movie, and I didn't hate it, but I don't think it was perfect. It wasn't terrible though. It just I feel like maybe there were some things that they could have done to make it a bit better, but not the worst movie I've seen.
And it's called The Bike Riders.
It's called The Bike Riders. I mean, basically, and I don't think this is a spoiler. It starts off with like, Tom Hardy's character. He's a guy like in, Chicago or something like that, and he starts this kind of group, him and a group of friends that they're riding bikes and kind of like a motorcycle club. But the thing grows and grows and grows, and at the end, you have like, people that are joining these clubs that aren't like necessarily salt of the earth people. It kind of takes a life more of like a thug type of thing, more of crime and things like that. And I think that it's
That's
it's a
interesting.
fictional story, but some of the idea of how this thing was founded and change into something else. I think that that's based on some reality. It's just it's kind of like the Titanic sank, but Rose and Jack weren't real. So these
Right.
three characters aren't real either. But I think that the general idea that the movie is trying to present, I think it's interesting, and I think that how it started as one thing and ended up something else. I think the movie really conveys that idea. And still, with
That
that
is
being said, there's a few things I may have changed. I also think that I think Jodie Comer isn't she European? She's like British or something.
She might be. It's funny. I don't really know much about Jodie Comer.
She is an English actress, and then Tom Hardy is English as well. The reason I bring this up is that you know during this movie, both of them really worked hard to do this kind of accent. But I don't know if it's because they're not from the US. I feel like they're trying too hard a bit.
Yeah.
It's fine. Maybe some people will like it. I just feel like it's a bit over the top. And Tom Hardy, I feel like at some point he saw James Gandolfini in a movie, and he decided, like in this movie, they want to kind of do a James Gandolfini. But he's not James Gandolfini, so there's really no point to it.
But he's like channeling James Gandolfini.
He's trying to speak in this kind of manner that makes me think that he sat around watching James Gandolfini and tried to recreate it. I've always had mixed feelings about Tom Hardy. I think he's a decent actor, but sometimes he kind of annoys me. Like maybe he does try too hard.
I think maybe he plays a few roles in his movies a little bit more tough than he needs to, or he'll try to play a role completely different from how it's supposed to be played, but he'll play it really well, I guess. I can totally agree that I think a couple of roles I'm annoyed by, but I think I don't know, he does good stuff here and there. I think it just depends on what movie he's in, because I really like him in Warrior. He plays a fighter in that movie. I think he does a really good job with that. But it's like, to be honest, as much as I like him in Venom, I don't think that he was really a good fit for the role of Eddie Brock in Venom.
No. I mean, he has something interesting about him, but I think that he's not as good as an actor as he's not a bad actor, and from his generation, he's decent. But sometimes I feel like he's trying too hard to get into a character, and he doesn't convince me.
Fair enough.
It wasn't a terrible performance, but there were times that I just in this movie feel it's too hard. It tries too hard. But what I did like about the movie cost about $40 million to make. It's a decent quality movie for that amount of money. I think Hollywood should be making movies with these kind of budgets.
What is the budget for this movie?
It's $40 million, which it's modest. And I think that for $40 million, they made a decent movie. And hopefully, with the type of talent they have attached, maybe they can even make their money back. I didn't hate the movie either. I just thought that there were measures that could have been taken to make it a little better.
Okay.
But I've seen worse movies this year. It's not a terrible movie at all.
So this actor. Oh, okay. So this actress is also acting in 28 Years Later as well.
I guess.
Okay. Also, there's a bumping sound. I don't know if that's you or if there's an animal trying to get in.
Oh, maybe I was moving kind of my chair. It could be me. Is it? Do you still hear it now?
Well, I hear nothing now. Looks like that coyote ran away.
Pat Sajak has left the Wheel of Fortune.
Wow.
I keep writing about it. Yeah, like I don't want to say who cares, but I can't think the last time I watched.
Yeah, people were really upset about this one.
Yes, this is crappy.
Yeah.
The Spaceballs sequel's in the work. There's no way to make a sequel to Spaceballs. Not Mel Brooks isn't in the condition now to do it, and no new comedian is right to do it either.
Yeah. Well, they got Josh Gad for this. He's helping write it.
Again, another guy that sort of just they like throwing his name around, but I don't think he's right for this.
Oh, he totally slams conservatives too. He's all about that. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Like, okay.
Yeah, I think plenty of people are probably not going to like this Spaceball, so he'll have to prepare his excuses, I guess.
Better be good, Josh. Better be a good. I really don't think it can be tops. I don't think the sequel could ever truly work. But man, good luck to you, sir. Your
Totally.
people are already like ups. There are a lot of Star Wars fans who are also Spaceballs fans. I am one of those people, and
Yeah, me
seeing
too.
everything that's happened to Star Wars, yeah, Price too, and like everything that's been going on with Star Wars, man, you come in and mess Spaceballs up. Feel like at that point, it's pretty much done. It's over.
Yeah, I think that there's it's sometimes there's movies that you just don't need a follow up. It's classic, it's iconic, it doesn't need a sequel.
No, no, I'm tired of sequels. They keep
I'm
rebooting
tired of
and
it
giving
also.
sequels to everything.
Think of something original to do. You can't just continue to rehash the past all the time.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to see if there was something else that kind of slipped our radar. Uh, Justin Timberlake charged with DWI in the Hamptons.
Oh no, man. Oh, oh. I don't know if oh man. Oh yeah, did you watch the first episode of House of the Dragon? We haven't really talked about that.
Oh yeah, have you watched it?
Yeah, I liked it. I
I
mean,
liked it too.
it was really messed up near the end.
Right. I mean, but that's kind of what the show is. Yeah, I actually I was gonna do a stream or something, but I didn't get a chance. But yeah, this was good. The first episode. I think it continues the spirit of what the previous season was. It kind of took me a little bit to get into it because I had forgotten. It's been such a long time since that previous season that I admit that I was trying to remember where we left off.
Hmm.
Um, but generally speaking, I didn't dislike it. I thought it was pretty good, and yeah, even that thing at the end, like the things that happen there that are maybe not so positive. I mean, again, this show likes to shock and have those kind of endings. Certainly, what was kind of a shocker, but you know,
Yeah, I didn't walk away disappointed. I definitely liked it. I have a thing like okay, if you know what I'm talking about near the end, because I it's House of the Dragon's actually a good show, so I will do my best not to spoil anything. But if you're against the sort of thing that happens that at the end of the show that does happen at the end of the show, and you're not really for that, me, I'm like, man, like there are just some lines I don't think TV shows should cross. Like I get it. This is like anti Lord of the Rings, everyone can die, anyone can die at any moment, but man, there's just some lines that I'm like, wow.
yeah, I mean, it feels like when you watch that House of the Dragon, then you watch like an episode of The Acolyte, you really can tell the difference between when something is competently made and when something is a complete joke.
Yeah. Um okay, so okay, someone was asking about that. There is a scene that there is a love scene. It's not really a love scene. It's just degeneracy. But that I guess from what I'm reading here, there was supposed to be more to that. She's like, I thought there'd be more, and I'm so relieved that when it has been used for me, it's showing Allison being you know what, which is amazing and doesn't feel gratuitous. Yes, it does. It does. Well, I mean, it's like those scenes are just I don't think they're even necessary. They don't really those scenes don't do anything for me. I don't feel like when, when Allison is being pleasured by anybody that it moves the needle in any way at all. I never felt that
No,
way when I watched it in Game of Thrones, and I don't feel that way now.
No, but in Game of Thrones, like you could tell that they were trying to get like people more excited, whereas here, the scenes are much quicker. In Game of Thrones, you saw more naked people, more naughty things happening. Here, I feel like they do things very quickly. They're like quick, quick, quick. Like they don't want they don't want to dwell on it because post Me Too, even though that it's a Game of Thrones type of show from the franchise, they don't want to show as much nudity.
Yeah, well, they definitely went. I've always had my thoughts about nudity and sex in TV shows, but it's like at some point, I just don't feel like any of these scenes really do anything for a show. I mean, if like yeah, it's like really fast too. You're right. Actually, now that I remember that those scenes are really quick. In fact, I skipped them because I just just don't care. Um, but man, like that's not even like it's funny because that's not even like the worst part of that episode. I
Yeah,
know that some people are just like all about it. Like I get some people are just all about it. Like they're all about like over the top gratuitous violence, over the top gratuitous sex scenes. I get that that's some people's thing, but dude, like sometimes you just don't need that kind of stuff in a show. And there are moments where you just don't need to do it. These actresses, it's just kind of weird that like, well, I thought they'd be. I don't understand it.
Professor R2 says now sex on screen costs extra because they need intimacy coordinators. You're right. They do need that stupid intimacy coordinator thing, which I think is lame. But
does anybody know how much they cost?
I don't know, but it becomes a whole to-do for them to start even doing sex scenes. So like probably you want to be doing less of them, and when you do them,
Yeah. Oh, I'm kind of curious how much an intimacy coordinator makes, because if that's really a
by the
problem.
way, before I forget, I want to give a shout out to Professor R2. The weirdest thing happened to me today. I swear that he and I were following each other. And I looked at, I was looking at a post of his or something like that. And then I suddenly looked and he and I were not following each other. Uh, it's as if somebody unfollowed me from him, but it wasn't me that unfollowed me. So I don't know who it was.
Oh, okay.
Very weird. I mean, now I think we're both following each other, but it was just weird.
You can apparently make 1,000 to 1,400 per day, around that, depending. I don't know. I guess that's like a 1 day on set can
It's not
net
only
you that
that, it's
much.
just a whole headache to have them there.
Well, that seems like a lot of money still, though. I know those scenes don't you don't just film those in like, oh, I mean, I guess maybe Allison's scene you film in 1 day, but that's a really
Professor
interesting thing.
Professor R2 says the Acolyte hired an intimacy coordinator for the shirtless scene with Yord. Probably, yeah.
So a guy made bank just by like telling him to be careful around the shirtless guy. Don't jump him. Okay, do not jump him and try to make out with him. Okay, I'll take my $2,000 check now. See you guys next week. Man, like you have to like rein in actors, like to make sure that they don't. I don't even know what an intimacy coordinator does. I assume that's what they do.
That's such a nonsense 2024 type of role, intimacy coordinator. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. In the past, like you brought some actors and actresses that had chemistry. They had to kind of sell that and do whatever they do. What is an intimacy coordinator really going to do? She's going to coach you as you're kissing the actress, or
Yeah,
I
I
don't know,
assume
man.
that's what they do. It's like, don't do anything that the actress would not consent of in real life.
Don't
And then
use
it
so
becomes,
much tongue. Don't use so much
yeah,
tongue now. Stop that.
yeah, 25% less tongue, and you don't want to be sued, so don't put your hand too far down her hip, and it just becomes an overcomplication. This is why you should just do away with those scenes altogether and give us storytelling again. Just do that, just do away with that stuff. You don't need it. Just give us some story. House of the Dragon is already a great show. I honestly can't even remember. I know that there are a few sex scenes in the first season. I don't even remember them. I like they did nothing for me. I skipped them, and I still got the full context of the story. You know what I mean? Hollywood's spending so much money on nonsense, intimacy court. I don't even know when that originated. I'm totally just like talking overpriced the whole time.
No,
bad.
not at all.
But yeah, I wonder how many other pointless positions there are on set. You can make a buttload of money doing nothing.
Oh, I'm sure there's a bunch of useless positions for sure. Let's see if there's anything else that was interesting.
Hail chat, hail Phantom.
Here, Austin Butler on his subtle Chicago accent in The Bike Riders and doing character voices after Elvis. You know, I don't know what to tell you. I think it's like in 2 articles now they were talking about these accents. I thought that Austin Butler, at least he didn't try to overdo it, so he's more mild. The other guys almost sound like a caricature, the Jodie Comer and Tom Hardy one.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I think that Austin Butler, out of the actors you have in this generation, he's not necessarily the worst, but I also think that I don't know if he's the best either, if you know what I mean.
I don't even think about Austin Butler.
I mean, he was an important part of the movie, but I just felt like, you know, out of the 3 of them, he was probably the weakest link acting wise. I think that
Oh, he
Jodie
didn't do very
Comer,
good on his accent.
yeah, I mean, he
On his
he tried
role.
to do no accent, whereas the other 2 tried to do an over exaggerated accent, which I
Oh.
didn't love. But I still think, even with my criticism of Tom Hardy and even Jodie Comer, I think they're better actors than Austin Butler.
Oh, okay.
You know, Austin Butler, I guess the ladies like him. Kind of reminds me of a young Val Kilmer, but with less acting skills.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of liked him. I haven't seen Elvis. I don't really care to, but I kind of liked him in his minor role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But that is it, dude. I can't think of another movie I really care about him in.
I agree.
Oh, I think that's. Oh, never mind. Never mind. I read that wrong. Yeah,
I don't even know
not a
what
lot of it.
Resident Alien is. What were you going to say?
Doesn't look like there's a lot of interesting things happening in Hollywood right now. Seems
No,
like
it was a relatively quiet day, but I did see the Bike Riders movie, so I was able to give some insight on that because I saw it like an advanced screening.
ooh, what's Lady in the Lake? Is that a femme version of Excalibur? What's that up there at the top?
Where do you see
It
that?
said, I think it was at the very top of that section. It said, "Aha! Lady in the Lake trailer. Natalie Portman and Moses Ingram's lives converge around mysterious woman's death." Oh, okay, it's not really. It's not really. I thought we were finally going to get our girl boss Excalibur movie. I was wrong.
Well, this will probably have some girl bosses in it, but yeah.
Well, maybe.
I'm trying to see. I think we went over some important stuff. There was some stuff in gaming, you know, that Assassin's Creed, I think, is not being well received in Japan,
Oh yeah, yeah. I
and
mean,
that
yeah, they're
that
not
th-
doing well.
they actually don't like the weird diversity angle that people were trying to shove down their throats. Apparently,
No,
maybe you
it's
know more about it.
well, I know that the videos from Ubisoft, especially on the Japan side, are being ratioed all the time. On other websites where Japanese people go to talk about things, they're like Japanese equivalent forums and stuff, and they talk about how they feel disrespected by Ubisoft. They feel that Ubisoft wasted their time. Ubisoft is being accused of a lot of things when it comes to the Assassin's Creed Shadows. They're being accused of butchering the culture and rich history of Japan. That they're stealing banners from stealing banners that they're not even supposed to be taking, and using them creatively to put into this game to try and make it look like an authentic Japan. It's just like they keep putting all these things in the game, but they have no idea what these things mean or like what they mean to the Japanese people or what they mean historically. Like the Torii Gates, for example. For some reason, Ubisoft spent millions of dollars sending its employees over to Japan to learn about Japan, but then they came back with almost zero knowledge because these people are like, if you don't know what a Torii Gate is, a Torii Gate is like is something that you walk through, but you can those big red gates, those big pavilion looking gates that they look like big upside down U's, right? And what they do is those Torii Gates accompany Shinto shrines. And on these shrines, you're supposed to be extremely respectful. So you like walk through it very carefully. You bow before you walk through the Torii Gate. You don't walk through the center. You walk a little bit center left or center right or something. Traditionally, you're supposed to follow a lot of rules and pay your respects when you're like interacting with the Torii Gate, for example. Torii Gates aren't like the entrance to a village or like the exit to a village where you just like ride through on your horse. But in this game, Ubisoft puts these Torii Gates at the entrances of villages. Like this is the kind of thing that Japanese people do, is like they put Torii Gates at the center of villages and they just like ride through them. There's a whole process to that. And like the entire area around a Torii Gate is sacred ground. I'm going off of what I've been researching. I'm sure I'm not going to get it perfect, but so in the trailer they have Yasuke in full samurai battle ready armor riding through a Torii Gate on his armored horse like it's nobody's business. And that Torii Gate is placed at the entrance of a village at the base of a mountain. So he's like riding down a mountain, like paying zero respect to the surrounding area and just trampling through. And it's just so funny. And there's also the addition. There's of course the lies where they were saying, oh, we're trying to be as historically accurate as possible, which is why we grabbed Yasuke. And now they flipped and been like, oh, it was always fiction. Everything was fiction. And this is after they get called out for giving Yasuke rap battle themed music to accompany him when he's fighting enemies. And that on top of the fact that I think I talked about this last time, but Ubisoft is sending out collector's editions that have this box. It's supposed to be this box that has like Japanese cultural significance, and they write letters on it in certain ways to where it's supposed to spell something out. Well, apparently they butchered that and misquoted a bunch of things on those collector's items. So they basically just, these people have no knowledge, but they're spending millions to go over there and learn about Japanese culture, but they have apparently just succeeded in nothing. So the Japanese people feel extremely insulted. They feel that Ubisoft does not care about them, that they've put a black samurai in there to try and westernize the Japanese setting. They like, this character just is like twice as big as all the Japanese people in the game, and he just goes around beheading and curb stomping and clubbing all these Japanese folk. I mean, you can do it to the you can do it to the civilians, you can do it to the enemies, you can just beat the crap out of everybody as Yasuke. And it's so insulting, demeaning, disrespectful, and such a waste of everybody's time and resources, where everybody's been waiting like a decade for this game to come out. And it's like, oh yeah, we put a black samurai in here. These people are so disingenuous. They don't care. Also, people still don't even have context of what kind of missions you're going to be doing in this game. Like the person that they hired as like a guide for them developing this game is an expert in child to adult monk relationships in Japanese history, like back in feudal Japan. That's the kind of thing that this person studies, that they hired. This is the person guiding them along developing this game. Who knows what kind of crap they have in this game, man? You think it's bad in Odyssey and Valhalla, dude? Get ready. This game looks like it's a wokester's wet dream. It really does. And as a matter of fact, the gameplay, I actually thought that Yasuke was like their big play, and that Naoe was their afterthought character. To be honest with you, Naoe's gameplay, the Japanese girl that you can play as, her gameplay actually looks like a lot of fun. I saw the gameplay. It's not perfect. There's a lot of fail in this thing, but it actually looks like she was the main character, and that Yasuke was the afterthought. That they were just like, oh, you know what? Let's just do this last ditch, last minute, change where we put in a second playable character just to make him Yasuke, right? That's what I feel is the afterthought now, because there's so little thought put into his gameplay. There's so little thought put into his personality. His voice is just garbage. Well, nowadays voice is garbage too. I have to admit, but yeah, it's there's a lot coming out about this game. Also, there's a lot of people are saying, well, it's like the most pre-ordered game in Japan. I counter that with Starfield was also like the most pre-ordered game ever, and it's been refunded to death. Same thing with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. A lot of people pre-ordered that. They don't have the game anymore. So I
Does
just
GameStop buy them back?
great question. I don't know. I honestly don't know if that would help, but I do know that when people say it's like, well, it's the most pre-ordered thing ever, like that doesn't mean anything to me anymore. I've seen that pre-ordered games can still fail. Like the most pre-ordered game in Japan can still end up being a financial flop, and so that's what I'm going to stick to until it shows that millions of people bought this game. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think that there's enough negative discourse to turn gamers away from it, and I think that they should, because not only does this game look like a woke piece of trash, it also looks extremely underdeveloped and a waste of everybody's money. The combat looks so subpar to other samurai type gameplay or Assassin's Creed games. It looks like it's not even finished been developing. The animations aren't even complete. The lighting is all wrong in certain areas. The Japan that they're trying to depict isn't even accurate. I mean, this is a failure. This is a failure of catastrophic proportions. And this on top of the fact of that the gaming industry is basically going down the toilet. There are layoffs across the industry. Another studio from Embracer just closed again. Another one. The guys who apparently made Alone in the Dark, which is well, I played that game a long time ago. They remade it. I think they grabbed the guy who plays Sheriff Hopper. I forget his name, but I actually know who he is, but for some reason right now I can't remember. But Sheriff Hopper from Stranger Things. I guess they had him in Alone in the Dark.
Harbour.
Yeah, David Harbour. Yeah, they shut that studio down. So great, wonderful. A lot of people just lost their jobs, and that's Embracer. And the industry's just going down the crapper. Nintendo did pretty good. They had a really good showcase today. Angry Canadian was telling me all about it. He was super excited. I'm going to have to watch it. I heard they announced Metroid Prime 4. I'm stoked. A Nerdporial visited me recently, and he gave me a copy of Metroid Prime, and I ended up playing through it and loving it. I'm like all hyped for Metroid Prime 4 now. I have to play the other ones. But yeah, dude, or is it Metroid? Is it Metroid Prime 4 or Metroid 4? I think it's Metroid Prime 4.
I haven't played Metroid in years, and I only played the original back in the day.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, well, the Xbox showcase and PlayStation showcases, I mean, if gamers haven't seen it already, there's just there's a lot that they're trying to push with DEI. Nintendo, one of the Nintendo managers, I don't even know what kind of manager he is. I'll look into it, but the Nintendo manager just calling a bunch of gamers bigots, dude, for Nintendo America. Like this guy.
They never learn these companies.
They never learn. I think what they need to do is they just need to start vetting these people and getting rid of the employees who are making them look so terrible. Nintendo, I'm sure Nintendo's going to take action on some of these people, because Nintendo's been getting a lot of backlash because they changed their policies in their I think they're feeling the backlash is what I meant to say, because they have policies that were promoting paying deep attention to DEI stuff and any controversial cultural changes in the gaming industry that like they want to tackle those. They changed that to make it more vague and more generalized, and I think that's because they've been facing a lot of backlash. I think the Paper Mario and 1,000-Year Door thing with the trans ghost thing has been causing a stir for them. And if these employees won't shut up, dude, that's going to cause even more problems.
Surely.
Other than that, I think, I did a video today on the Kotaku journalist, because Elden Ring, this is actually a huge deal. The Elden Ring DLC, I'm a huge Elden Ring fan. Elden Ring DLC review embargo lifted today. So everybody dropped their reviews for the game, said it's the most amazing thing ever. Guess who the only one was that decided to put their personal, political, and social grievances in the first few paragraphs of their review?
Has to be Alyssa Mercanti.
Alyssa Mercanti, that is right. The Kotaku senior editor decided that in the first few paragraphs of the review of Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, a review code that Bandai Namco gave to Kotaku so they could review it properly. In the first few paragraphs, she talks about how she is a victim of harassment from middle-aged men who are homophobes and misogynists and hate women.
Of course.
It's some of the most whiny, childish, toddler-like behavior I've ever seen, and it is such a slap in the face to the developers who give these outlets a chance. Not only does she play the game terribly, she never even finished the DLC, which DLC is downloadable content for those of you who never play. But yeah, she never finished this expansion for Elden Ring like these other people did. Played terribly, and constantly compared everything that was it's psychotic, dude. She kept comparing everything that was happening in the game to her real life. She kept saying that it parallels her real life. She's like,
That's the opposite. Why would you even do that? You're supposed to escape and play these games, not compare it to your real life.
well, she said that that going through a boss door and fighting a boss and dying multiple times is the same feeling she gets when she goes into work every day knowing that she's going to be harassed by middle-aged men. That's the kind of thing she was doing throughout this review. She was just like taking these little tidbits of whatever would happen in the game. She'd be like, and when I stabbed that enemy in the face, it reminded me of when I was stabbed in the face emotionally by all these men. Like, dude, I'm just
In a way, it's a double-edged sword. I think it's important to call her out, but on the other hand, I feel like we're only helping prolong her career, because somehow with all these stupid things, people are still talking about her, even though she acts and says things that don't make any sense.
Yeah, well, I agree. I think that my video was more pointing out like
No, I'm not criticizing your video. Listen, I myself have gotten like into sort of a thing where she annoyed me and I was posting and then she blocked me. It's really easy. It's really easy to get swept away into her crap because she's really, really annoying. So, and she deserves to get called out. Don't think that she doesn't. I just sometimes I worry that, you know, I say this not just about you, about myself as well, even that we're basically, by not being able to kind of let her just vanish and addressing what she does, we're on one hand we're doing something important that we're calling people out, but on the other hand, we are still giving her some kind of stage, or I don't know what. I have mixed feelings about it myself, I guess.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I don't fully disagree with you because I think that there's a balance. I think that they should be called out on the things that they do, but if you're making like videos every single day about every little thing that person says, yeah, I don't think that you're doing anybody any favors, but you're probably helping her. I think my biggest problem with her review is that like these game developers and publishers, they pass out these review codes to people that just do not deserve it and don't give anybody any real insight into if the game is good or not. Like these Kotaku journalists really are not journalists, they're bloggers, and yet they're given review codes to review a game as if they are journalists. And then when they write the reviews, all they do is like usually they'll just like praise it to no end. They won't point out any of the flaws. They'll just point out like, oh, I'm terrible at the game, but this game's absolutely amazing and I haven't touched it for 2 years, but it's like I never left, right? But the Kotaku stuff, like Kotaku's the only article, and I pointed this out in my video, out of all of these outlets, even outlets that would defend Alyssa Mercanti, defend Kotaku, they didn't even have the nerve to start talking about Gamergate. And like, this is the only person that did it. And I pointed that out because I learned earlier today that one person that reports on Elden Ring, Ziostorm, I've actually been watching his YouTube for a couple years, but for the past number of years, he's been reporting faithfully on Elden Ring. Like he's one of the biggest YouTubers for Elden Ring out there, but he didn't get a review copy, right? but he plays the game. He
Right.
knows so much about the game. He actually cares and could probably give a proper critique of the game. But Bandai Namco is passing out review codes to Kotaku. And so, like, my biggest thing was, I'm just like, dude, stop passing out these review codes to people who don't deserve it and really just don't know anything about video games, because you're not doing any favors for your company or for your game's reputation by doing that. And I think that, and I think that when people find out about that sort of thing, it's going to turn them away from FromSoft. Like, when they find out that, you know, there are a lot of Dark Souls fans out there that are based, okay, and they don't like to associate with people like Alyssa Mercanti, who try to trash people for no good reason. And when they see that this person is getting a review code when they have been like faithfully, you know, or when they've been like such a huge player in this thing, and these people who don't ever play video games, they get these review codes. It's just nonsense. Especially when they're evil, you know, that definitely does not help. So that was my big criticism on it. I also think that it's hilarious, the things that that she says in those articles, because it's like no sane person would ever do that. And yet so many people on social media who don't see the things that she writes think that she's an amazing person, which is also really baffling. Anyway, not to keep ranting about Alyssa Mercanti, but I totally see your point. And yeah, that's why I don't report on that stuff every single day.
I want to clarify. I wasn't criticizing. I think you do fantastic work on your channel, and I watch every video that you release. I think you're doing a great job with that channel, and it's really been growing in recent months, and I can understand why. And as I said, I myself have even gotten into kind of arguments with her, which is why she blocked me. It's really hard.
Nice.
She's so annoying, and it's really hard to ignore that.
Well, you know, she just picks fights with people and then backs down, you know, like she even admits herself in this review that she butchers. She's like, all I do is I come out and I write an article and shake things up and then go back into obscurity. I mean, that's really what her life is.
She's so conniving. I can't stand, you know, it's difficult. Like I said, it's a difficult situation to be in, and you report news. Sometimes you can't ignore it. Today, I think she and another guy were talking about potentially, you know, doing negative things to Grums or something like that. And, you know, I see these tweets and it's really bizarre. You know, these are things that you can't let that kind of thing slide.
You can't, and maybe that's what they want. You know, maybe they want to. Maybe they're saying these controversial
It's a
things for only attention.
It's a lose-lose. I mean, depending how you want to look on it at it, but it's sort of a lose-lose situation. You don't write about it, and you're not writing about something important that's happening in pop culture and gaming. You do write about it. You're potentially strengthening her instead of making her go away, and it's a real tough double-edged sword. So.
Yeah, well, maybe quote tweeting her every single time she even breathes is probably not a good idea.
Yeah. And again,
I do agree though. I hope they fade into it.
I can't blame anybody that has gotten upset and wanted to, you know, go back and forth with her.
You know what?
I can't complain. I understand it.
You know what? I will say this. It did hit pretty close to home for me. Souls franchise, I don't let anybody mess with the Souls franchise. I think that those games are really unique, and it's really disgusting that any news outlet would use the goodwill of a game developer and publisher who rely on them to put out good information for other gamers, and they use that and take advantage of it so that they can air out their own personal grievances. I mean, this is in the first few paragraphs. It's like, it's just a slap in the face to fans of the game. Like, imagine being a normie and you just like read this review. It's just like, for 4 months, I've been harassed by middle-aged men. It's like, I literally clicked on this page to read a review about Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, bro.
Right.
I mean, it's just, it's the most unprofessional behavior ever. And I think maybe that's the goal. But yeah, I think that there's just some points where I've seen a lot of the things that she said, and I don't say it, but dude, today, you're really going to mess with Elden Ring so that you can start talking about how much you hate men. Okay, let's talk about it then. But yeah, I understand that.
And
But yeah, I think. But other than that, honestly, bro, I don't think there's there's some outside stuff with Adobe, but I think that like really there are a lot of executives and game developers talking smack, and I feel like that's all they can do. So that's all that I see happening, and just Assassin's Creed, just whatever crap.
that one looks silly. Yeah, even though I don't really play games these days, but I have to say that one looks really bad from what I've seen.
Yeah, but it's awful. If you watch gameplay, you'll be like, oh, that's what Dredd meant when he said that the combat looks like a pile of garbage. Like you'll, yeah. But that's all I've got, man. That's all I've got.
I understand, and yeah, it's been a good show. I want to thank there's been a lot of great people here. I probably don't know if I can go back and shout out everybody, but from Joshua Calkins to Matthew Marcillo, Professor R2, Empress NM, we had Kivo here, Phantom Outsider, Willem, Badfoot, okay, Phantom Outsider, Ekley Thomason, Rida Ibn Muhammad. Did I miss anybody? Angry Canadian.
That was pretty
Just
on
trying
point.
to give as many shout outs. There were certainly a lot of people here, and we appreciated it. Wherever you came and you checked it out. I guess if you want more updates on kind of gaming journalism, you should check out Dreadroberts' channel. He's on every platform. DREADROBERTS. And me you can find on Price of Reason, usually, or Price of Reason Live. And if you're watching this video and if you're enjoying it or if you enjoyed it, feel free to also subscribe and follow both to myself and also to Dreadroberts' channels. I was just giving everybody a reminder here. Again, thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you for watching our new theme opening or our temporary theme opening.
Yo, dude, that intro's awesome though. Hey, you know what? I will leave you to your secrets, but that was actually a legit intro in my opinion. I liked it.
Considering the speed in which I put it together, and it's really just a placeholder, I think it was fine. We can even end with it. So I'm going to end it.
Price of Reason and Dreadroberts.
So I'll put it on now. I want to wish everybody a good night, and we'll see you guys here on Thursday.
See you guys Thursday. Love you, chat.
See you guys.
It's a night out with Price of Reason and Dreadroberts.